Hello again, Bridget. You can tell that the brain is on fire today because I keep thinking of things that I need to share with you. And this is actually an apology on my behalf, not to you, to the people of Twitter. You know that I'm on X a fair bit, Bridge. And I wrote a tweet a few weeks ago, it was probably last week actually, about the amount of people in state school who were on a salary of 120 grand and 200 grand. And I wrote it in a hurry and I got it the wrong way round. So apologies, I was wrong. Now, the first part of that is look what happens, Bridget, if you say you were wrong. I'm still here. I'm a human. I got it wrong. And instead of going, I'm just not going to answer that, I'm not going to address that, I'm going to ignore it, I'm going to pretend it's going to go away, I was wrong. And I would like to set the record straight on what that fact is, which is in state school, 80% of families who have an income of £120,000 are in state school. 90% of families who have an income of over £200,000 are in state school. So if you've got all the people in the UK who have got £200,000 as an income or over, 90% of them are in state school. And again, for all the people who have an income of £120,000, 80% are in state school. Now that's quite a fact, isn't it? That makes me think they've got deep pockets. They've got broad shoulders. They can afford more towards state. Why can't they pay some more money towards state education? And then it makes me think, a bit like the NHS thing, if state is as oversubscribed and underfunded as we say it is, why aren't they putting their kids in private school? Why are they not freeing up a place for somebody who isn't on 120 grand, which would be me, or somebody who isn't on 200 grand, which would be me? I mean, it wouldn't be you, Bridget, because you are on, you fit both of those. You're in the 90% on over 200 grand. So why are your kids at state school when state school is so overrun and under-resourced? Why are you not freeing up a place and saving the state a little bit of money by putting your children in private school? It's a question. It's a valid, fair question. Why are you not doing that? Why are we taxing people that don't have those salaries for the simple fact that they made a choice to put their children in private school? Why are we doing that? Why are we saying because you made a choice, you need to pay an extra 20% on it? And why are we saying that to these people, but we're not applying the same logic, the same rules to those in state? Now, state boarding schools, and I'll be totally honest with you, I don't really get all of this properly. I need to do a bit more research in it, but mainly because state boarding schools isn't something that I've been overly aware of. But state boarding schools, they're not, as far as I understand, and again, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong, they're not being charged 20%. So people pay less money, but they pay for their kids to go to state boarding schools. And as far as I understand, those state boarding schools are not being charged 20% on their fees. Well, why not? Because you see, when you say it like that, the more you say it out loud, the more you see that this isn't just a tax, a revenue raid to support state. This is a revenue raid on people who have chosen private schools. And we talk a lot about people in SEN or with SEND children who have had no choice but to go private, which sort of almost diminishes those who just wanted to go private. Why should they have to justify it? I don't ask you to justify why you don't go private. I don't say, why don't, I mean, I know I just have in this video to make a point, but does anyone come up to you and say, why don't you go private? No, they don't, because that's your choice. And I think it's the wrong one, given the rhetoric that you're giving us about state education and the rhetoric that, you know, state education needs all the help it can get and that has to come from the private sector. But it's your choice. So you can see, well, you probably can't see because you just don't get this connect, but most logical people can see that this is a direct hit on families that chose private education, because you are absolutely not applying the same rules for everyone. And when you talk about being fair, and when you talk about wanting the best for all children, we know that you don't mean that, but we also know that you don't mean you want the best and you want to be fair for all parents, do you? And, you know, I always quote Rachel Reeves' sister Ellie as "it sticks in my craw," because I just think it's a really weird phrase. But I'll go with it. It does. It is so unbearably hypocritical. So let's get back to that fact for the last time before I go and cook my mashed potato. 80% of families who have an income of over £120,000 or over go to state school. 90% of families who have an income of £200,000 or more go to state school. They, Bridget, they have broad shoulders.